October baseball is here. I got a World Series prediction and some best bets. Let's talk some scene. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and after a little bit of a hiatus, we're back to talk some more baseball, baby. I am jacked up, ready to roll. It's MLB playoff time, and we got a lot to talk about. But first, really excited about our announcement. Our first NHL video is out now. No, I am not the one in the video. You do not want me talking hockey, that's for sure. Karan, who I've mentioned before, he is a part of the Jabbo team. He gives out his best future bets and Stanley Cup prediction. And then you're going to see him more and more throughout the season because he's going to be giving out best bets daily and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you guys can be along for the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun having hockey on the channel. But we have 4 games to kick off the MLB playoffs. What a doubleheader in game 1 that was between the Mets and the Braves. Just an all-time classic. That was fun to watch. But anyways, I'm ready to get right into it. I didn't even write a fun fact. I was too into the baseball part of it, so we have no fun fact today. But if I find one, I'll put one in the pinned comment. So I'm ready to get started in this video, guys. I'm going to give out my favorite World Series bet. And we're just going to talk a little bit about it because I wanted to get this out. I'm excited to announce it, but obviously it's baseball. Anything can happen. Then we're going to go over the good and bad hitter matchups. There is no good pitcher strikeout matchups today. And then we'll go over that full pitcher report, the best bets, hitter parlay ideas, and the bets recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow, help the algorithm. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we are on our way to 29,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for the support. Let's finish this season strong. All right, let's get into it. And that means it's time to talk some World Series. All right, before we get into my best bets today, I am going to give you my favorite World Series bet and who's going to win it. It's tough to predict, guys. It's baseball. We start with a best of 3 series. Absolutely anybody can win a best of 3 series. Just some notes I saw around the playoffs before I let you know. Orioles and Phillies both went 33 and 33 in the second half with a combined plus 10 run differential. It just wasn't pretty. Now, could they turn it on in the playoffs? Possibly, but it hasn't been great. Yankees have the best record in the playoffs against winning teams, 60% win percentage in those games. The Tigers were AL leading 34-19 since August 1st. They have been on an absolute scorcher as they take a playoff spot away from the Twins. Now, my World Series bet. It's the Mariners. No, I'm just joking. I've just been wanting to say that for 38 years now, and they've never made a World Series. But the Padres to win the World Series, I saw this on DraftKings at plus 1,200. Okay? Now, my big worry of it is I thought they're going to face Chris Sale, but it looks like he is unavailable this round, which is a huge blow to the Braves there because the Padres do not hit lefties as well, but he is not going to be pitching. In fact, game 1 is not going to be anybody good, really, for the Braves. But let's just talk about the Padres real quick. His team is pretty loaded, guys. They have 4 quality starters, which you love to see in the playoffs. Michael King, 2.19 ERA since August 1st. Dylan Cease, 3.62 ERA since then. And then 2.97 for Dylan Cease and a 1.74 average against in September. Yu Darvish, 3.5 ERA since in September. He missed like 3 months. Joe Musgrove, who struggled earlier in the year, 2.15 ERA since August 1st. 4 starting pitchers of around 3.5 or better the last 2 months. They are absolutely loaded in the rotation. And of course, these aren't guys that just that don't miss many bats because we got Cease and King who can strike out a ton of hitters. Bullpen. This is the best bullpen in the NL right now in the playoffs. It just is what it is. Maybe the Brewers are up there with them, but 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys are absolute studs thanks to the trade deadline. We're talking Jason Adam, under a 2 ERA. Tanner Scott, under a 2 ERA. Robert Swerve, 2.77 ERA. Yes, he's faltered a little down the stretch, but these are 3 elite arms coming out of the pen. If you were losing in the past the 6th inning, it's going to be tough on the opponents for them. And then offense, obviously, Tatis is back swinging a hot bat versus righty since August 1st. 4th best WRC plus, 3rd slugging, lowest K rate in the major leagues. And then versus lefties, August 1st, they're 18th WRC plus, 20th slugging, still the lowest K rate. They definitely crush righties a lot better than lefties, just so you guys know for the future. But overall, we're getting plus 1,200 for this. That means they're the 7th favorite to win the World Series on DraftKings. This is a top 3 bullpen and the top 5 bullpen in the major leagues right now. 2nd best offense in the playoffs against righties behind the Dodgers. Deep starting rotation. They may even take one of those 4 starting rotation guys and bring them out of the bullpen to dominate when they need. Because Obviously, you have a much tighter, how do I want to say it? So circuit cycle of pitchers. I don't know what I'm saying, but you're not going to use everybody in the bullpen. You're not using your worst arm or anything like that. If you have to use one of those starters and you got to bring them out, especially for a 3-game series, they will, and they do not have a lack of arms. Obviously, it will not be easy in the National League. That's why we're getting plus 1200. But I like the Padres to have a chance, a little long shot there. They're going to have to go through the Dodgers in the next round if they beat the Braves, but you know what? They're going to have to go through LA at some point anyway. So give me the Padres, little sprinkle quarter unit for me, plus 1200 to win the World Series. And now let's talk some good and bad hitter matchups. All right, we got 9 of these matchups for you today. We had a few more, but Max Fried was taken off as the starting pitcher. We'll talk more about that later. But Salvi Perez, 6 for 12 off Corbin Burns. And we got some Astros hitters who have hit the lefty. Tariq Skubal, the Cy Young Award winner, or soon to be, pretty well. Altuve, 4 for 11. Bregman, 3 for 9. Jeremy Pena over there, 3 for 7. Not too shabby. And then Adley Rutschman over there, 4 for 6 off the lefty. Cole Reagans. Obviously, it's the playoffs. We have a ton of good pitchers. So hitter parlays are going to be a little interesting because you're going to be pretty much taking a hitter against one of the elite starting pitchers in the league. So anyways, that's all 9 of them for you. We have no bad hitter matchups. The only one we did have was Manny Machado against Max Fried. But again, Max Fried is no longer a pitcher today. So that's what we got for those. And now, because we have no pitcher strikeout matchups, we are heading straight to the pitcher report. All right, these are the 4 matchups today. Obviously, just elite starting pitchers. Tariq Skubal versus Framber Valdez. Guys, Valdez has not only been elite, but really good at home, especially. These are 2 guys that have been practically unhittable. Let's just face it. They are just tough to get runs off of. Skubal with a 30.3% K rate, 2.39 ERA. We already know how good he can be with that low 4.6% walk rate. And then Valdez, the Tigers have struggled versus lefties. This is going to be a tough matchup. Yes, the Tigers have won a lot of games. A lot of it's with pitching, and it's also against right-handed pitching. They struggled a little bit more against lefties. So that's going to be an interesting one to start, and that's an early game too. And then the lefty, Cole Reagans against Corbin Burns. Burns was in a slump for a little while, but he has figured it back out, and he is pitching very well lately with that 2.92 ERA overall this season. Reagans is right there with him, and Reagans is the guy who obviously misses a ton of bats. 29.3% K rate. With a little below average, though, on the walk rate there. So that's going to be a great matchup. You're going to see a lot of low totals in the playoffs because, of course, when you bring in bullpen arms, they are going to be the best of the best because nobody wants to throw anybody else. And then Luis Severino, the Mets travel to Milwaukee after a doubleheader. Severino's been struggling a little bit lately. We will talk more about this game in a little while. Freddie Peralta can be a tough one to trust. I'm going to be honest with you. He can miss some bats, but he can also give up some hits, can walk some guys. So we'll see how that goes. And then there it is, guys. The Atlanta Braves. No Chris Sale. Back spasms will not be available. Just an absolutely huge blow. I mean, the Atlanta Braves have taken blow after blow this season. And then Max Fried was pulled also. They are, last I heard from an Atlanta Braves person, it will either be Ian Anderson, Bryce Elder, or AJ Smith-Shawver to be one of the starters. Holy smokes, guys. That is not a good game 1 starter out of any of those 3. Going up against Michael King at his 2.95 ERA in San Diego with that offense. All 3 of those guys also are righties. So it's gonna be pretty tough for the Braves to win that one, especially with their bullpen being completely depleted. So, anyways, those are the 4 matchups for the pitcher report, and now it is time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to Camden Yards where the Orioles host the Kansas City Royals. Orioles on the money line minus 162, Royals on the money line plus 135 with a total of 7 runs. You know what? Before we get into the best bet, I'm just going to talk a few little pieces of info because this is a best of 3 series, as all of them are. Anything can happen. The Royals come in going 4-6 in the last 10 and massively struggling on offense. And I think that's an understatement. They have scored the fewest runs in the major leagues in September with 74. The next closest is the Rays at 80. It has been atrocious. It's Bobby Witt and a bunch of dudes is all it is. Orioles, they've been the definition of average for a very long time. Like, look back since August 1st, July 1st. It's right there around 500. 26 and 27 since August 1st. They luckily are 7-3 last 10. Maybe they got a little something going. We'll see. But prediction in this series, guys. I mean, if the Royals can have anybody step up in their lineup, they got a chance to take the series. I haven't been impressed by the Orioles, but the deal is that they just have better pitching. I mean, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo after Cole Reagans, and now we're looking at what, Zach Eflin maybe after Corbin Burns. The Orioles rotation and pitching just hasn't been great. But then again, the Royals bullpen has struggled. So maybe as an underdog upset, but you know what? The Royals have been so terrible offensively. It is going to be hard to picture them winning as well. But my best bet in this game number 1. Give me the lefty Cole Reagans over 5.5 Ks at -135 on DraftKings. This will be a half unit, as will every play today. Just for me, you guys do what you want. It's the first day of the playoffs. I'm just going to get a feel for it. It's a little bit juicy, but I like it. So he is over this, guys. This is what's insane about this line. He is over this in 25 of 32 games. No joke. Over a 9 in the last 10. And by the way, this is all thanks to Outlier. Go click that link below if you want to join, get that 7-day free trial. It's just been a huge help for me. But Orioles versus lefties, 17th in K percentage versus lefties, 24.5% average matchup for him here. But again, he's hitting this at a ridiculous rate. We have some good targets for Reagans as well. Jackson Holiday, he probably won't be in the lineup. If he is, almost 35% K rate. Gunnar Henderson, 25%. Jordan Westberg, 29.1%. Colton Cowser, 34.9%. There are some targets here. And with the Royals not having a good bullpen, they're not going to be in a rush to yank him. They want him to stick it out because he is going to be their best pitcher. They do not have many options out of the pen. His outs line is set at 16.5. If he's throwing the ball well, I don't think they stop him. I think they run him all the way to 100 or more pitches. This could be his last start if they don't give it everything they got. So recent lefties to go over 5.5 Ks versus the Orioles: Blake Snell, 12. Framber Valdez, 8. Sean Manaea, 9. David Peterson, 8. You can get to them. They're not obviously an elite matchup, but like I said, they are an average matchup. And if you're a good strikeout pitcher, usually you can get 6 or more strikeouts against the Orioles. Reagans obviously there's not many better lefties in the league, to be honest with you, especially with swing and miss stuff. So give me Cole Reagans over 5.5 Ks for the 26th time this year in 33 starts as my first best bet. We are heading out to Milwaukee, where the Brewers host the New York Mets. Brewers on the money line -135, Mets on the money line +114, with a total of 7.5 runs. I'm just going to get right into this one. It's the Brewers team total over 3.5 at -125 on Bet365. Half unit play for me. That is my best bet in game number 1. As for the series, the Mets, it's going to be tough for the Mets. I will say that, but the Brewers have been known to let their fans down in the playoffs. So we'll see. But Brewers are facing Luis Severino. So let's talk about the team total. He's been very hittable lately. 3+ earned runs in 3 straight games. He's kind of just been okay. 4.08 ERA in August, 3.64 in September. But my, has he struggled on the road. A 5 ERA on the dot, as opposed to a 2.96 at home. So this is going to be a tough matchup here with a raucous Milwaukee crowd there, rooting on their Brewers. He's in the first start of the season, he faced the Brewers. I don't know if that's worth anything. It's the first start. We're talking March 30th. He gave up 12 hits and 6 earned runs versus Milwaukee. But Brewers offense lately, I'm not going to sit here and say they've been dominant, but last 3 weeks versus righties, 14th WRC plus, 13th slugging, 13th batting average. So they're average to slightly above average. But a big reason I like this, guys, because I think they just need a couple runs off Severino and they got a good chance. The Mets bullpen is not as rested. Edwin Diaz, their best reliever, he just threw 40 pitches. He's probably not available. They needed him to get to the playoffs. So I would be very surprised if he threw at all in the game 1. And they're already 15th in bullpen ERA the last 2 months. They've just been okay. If you do like a side, Milwaukee has been the number 1 ERA or in the bullpen for the last 2 months. It's been pretty impressive. But I think Milwaukee gets 4+ runs here, with Severino struggling a bit lately, especially on the road. I think the Brewers can take advantage of that. And then, of course, against that Mets bullpen, they got a good shot to tack on some runs later in the game as well. So give me the Brew Crew team total over 3.5 as my second best bet. All right, this final bet of the video takes us out to San Diego, where the Fathers host the Atlanta Braves. Padres on the money line -155, Braves on the money line +130, with a low total of 7 runs. My best bet in this game, we're getting some plus money action. Here we go. Padres -1.5 on the run line, +145 on DK and Bet365. We're going to take a chance here. So in this game, no Max Fried, no Chris Sale. Did I mention one of the 3 Brave starters will be starting? We don't know yet. It'll be either Bryce Elder, Ian Anderson, or AJ Smith-Shawver. None of those 3 should be able to shut down this elite Padres offense versus right-handed pitching. All 3 of those guys are right-handed pitchers. And then, of course, after one of those 3 starting pitchers, they're going to get a depleted Braves bullpen. 2 of the best bullpen arms the Braves have in Jimenez and Iglesias. Not only threw in 1 game yesterday, they threw in both freaking games of the doubleheader. They're not going to be, I would be shocked if either are available. That really takes a toll on this bullpen. And now they're facing a Padres offense. Like I mentioned when we talked World Series prediction, they have a top 5 offense in almost every category against right-handed pitching this season. We're talking Tatis, Machado, Xander Bogaerts, who we'll talk about in just a bit, who's been swinging it well, Luis Arias, Jackson Merrill, the stud rookie. I think these boys are going to get it done against one of those 3 starting pitchers and this Braves bullpen. And then on the other side, Michael King is on the mound. Holy smokes, has he been good for the Fathers? King has only given up more than 2 earned runs in a start one time since July 23rd. That's just silly. Really, it doesn't even make sense. 1.57 ERA with a 2.09 average against in September. That's practically unhittable. 201 Ks in 173.2 innings. Plus, his swing and miss stuff is elite at home. Much better. 32.5% K rate at home compared to only 23.5% on the road. Of course, he will be home here. Facing a Braves offense who is pretty good. I'm not going to say they're not. Last 3 weeks versus righties, 10th WRC plus, 6th slugging, 12th batting average. They've hit the ball decent, but this is a different animal in Mr. Michael King. And after King, like I mentioned already earlier this video, they will be faced with elite arms. This is a fully rested Padres bullpen, obviously. These Braves hitters are, every time they step up in the batter's box this game, are probably going to have a very difficult matchup and a tough starting pitcher. So in this one, guys, we got a big starting pitcher advantage for the Padres. We have an offensive advantage thanks to them being a righty for the Padres or the Braves on the mound. We have a bullpen advantage, especially for Game 1 for the Padres. I love the plus money here. Give me the Padres on the run line as my third best bet. And now let's talk some hitter parlay ideas. All right, we got 3 of these for you today. I just want to remind people these are not bets where I'm saying you need to parlay all 3 or anything like this. These are just options for you if you're betting batter props, and I'm not giving you just the best of the best players all the time. Sometimes it's kind of under the radar. So let's just talk about 3 of them. First one, Xander Bogaerts hitting 389 in the last 7 days. He'll be facing one of those 3 righties I talked about for the Braves, all very hittable. And then after that is that Braves depleted bullpen, which are all right-handed pitchers. Xander Bogaerts hitting 275 off righties, pretty decent compared to 223 off lefties. So this is the split you want. I like Xander Bogaerts possibly to stay hot here. I know, listen, these are going to be tough. Hitter parlays are going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of good starting pitchers, but also because there's been a break. So it's going to be hard to determine, is Xander going to catch on fire still? I don't know. He hasn't played in a few days. So it's just all things to kind of take into effect. But the second one, Ryan Mountcastle, 381 the last 7 days. He was on a 7-game hitting streak to end the season, and this guy crushes lefties. 306 versus lefties this season compared to 257 versus righties. It's against Cole Reagans. Again, this is the playoffs. These are going to be tough matchups. Cole Reagans is good, obviously, but he's going to have at least one shot also against his Royals bullpen. It's just riding the hot bat here. Reagans isn't going to throw a no-hitter. Some people are going to get hits, and he's been crushing lefties. The third one, Mighty Mouse, Jose Altuve. Yes, it's against Tariq Skubal, but Altuve can hit anyone, guys. He's 4 for 11 off Skubal in his career, like you already saw. He is one of the best hitters against lefties in the entire league, guys. He hit 370 versus lefties this season. That's just stupid. That's not even fair. He also hit 290 at home. He has 1+ hit in 15 of the 21 games in September. I like Altuve here to get a hit. So those are my 3 hitter parlay ideas, my 3 best bets for Game 1 of the wild card round, and all the betting research you need. Let's start out with a bang. Let's get some winners. Appreciate you guys watching this video and just all MLB season long. If you haven't already, hit that like button for me. And also go check out that NHL season preview video out now. And here is the recaps. Cole Reagans over 5.5 Ks at -135. Brewers team total over 3.5. Padres on the run line at nice +145. And then just a little sprinkle on the Fathers to win the World Series at +1200 for a quarter unit for me. So that's what we got. Again, go check out that NHL video now. Karan gives his best futures and Stanley Cup prediction. This is fun. I'm excited for the MLB playoffs. Every pitch is going to be exciting. Thank you guys for watching all season long. If you haven't already, hit that like button. But hope you have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk to you soon.